Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Monday, October 20th. We have all you need to know about the No Kings protests across the country, including here in State College, as well as more on a new home for a Center County nonprofit.
We also have the latest information on the global AWS outage, along with sports, entertainment, weather, and an interview. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Alicia Ernst.
And I'm Kassie Vasellas. A couple thousand State College members showed up for the No Kings protest on Hub Lawn on Saturday. This event was one of over 2,500 across the United States. On the lawn, protesters carried handmade signs, some people wore costumes, and organizers spoke and led chants. The No Kings movement began as a response to what organizers viewed as an attack on voting rights, freedom of speech, and peaceful transfer of power.
After 40 years without a permanent home, a local nonprofit finally has a place to call its own. Rule 62 Recovery and Wellness held an open house Wednesday for its new space in College Township, thanks to an $800,000 state grant. The organization facilitates Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous programs and now hosts around 20 meetings each week. Board President John Dickinson says they previously met in attics, storage units, and old office spaces. The new facility will also offer counseling services, wellness education, and alcohol-free social events like sports watch parties and movie nights.
After hearing several residents talk about the growing colony of stray cats near County Place Park for months, Harris Township has partnered with a local nonprofit, Hope's Dream and Rescue and Sanctuary for Ethical Population Control. Hope's Dream Rescue and Sanctuary has been facilitating trap, neuter, and spay-release services for cats they have trapped in the park since August. According to founder Lisa King, the services she provides not only keeps the population low, but also keeps the cats healthy and unharmed.
Clearwater Conservancy is closing in on its goal to permanently protect a historic farm from development. The organization has raised $725,000 of its $875,000 goal to acquire a conservation easement for the 110-acre Hess Farm in Harris Township. The active beef cattle farm dates back to 1837 and is in its seventh generation of family ownership. The property sits along Roaring Run and is part of the Slab Cabin Run initiative, which protects water for 7 municipalities. Clearwater expects to complete the project in 2026 and is asking local governments to help cover the remaining $150,000 needed. What kind of weather can students expect for the rest of this week? Student meteorologist Filippo Formica is live in the studio with this week's forecast. Filippo?
Thanks, Alicia. It was a beautiful day today after some showers last night. Now at the Penn State golf courses, it's dark, but we did have a beautiful sunset there. Right now, 52 degrees here in State College. Feeling like 52, that dew point significantly dropped to 37. Our winds west at 8 miles per hour. And those wind gusts right now, 8 miles an hour here in State College, but they were in the 20s earlier today. And we see that still in Allentown, 20-mile-an-hour wind gusts present right there. And that's going to have an effect on our temperatures. We're starting to see 40s infiltrate the Commonwealth, and we could get into the 30s here in State College by the end of the night. And that's going to be the trend throughout the rest of this week. We're going to see a closed-off low-pressure system making its way through the eastern two-thirds of the United States. That's going to bring in northwesterly flow, and that northwesterly flow is going to aid in dropping those temperatures throughout the rest of the week. That's also going to aid in bringing the precipitation in and keeping it here for a while. Let's time out that precipitation. Starting out around tomorrow afternoon, we'll see the first batch of rain showers moving through State College. And then we're going to be seeing another few rounds of showers throughout the day tomorrow. So it is a day to bring your umbrella, but you may be opening it and closing it multiple times throughout the day. As we go through Wednesday, the chance for some drizzle, and I think that stays true through Thursday as well, the chance for even more drizzle. I do want to point out the chance for some lake effect showers and thunderstorms in northwestern Pennsylvania as this closed off low pressure system moves through. We're going to see this unsettled pattern continuing throughout Thursday and into Friday. We'll see those showers start to calm down just a little bit, but still a slight chance of precipitation. The best chance of staying dry will be on Saturday, but still an mostly overcast day starting to move in as our next weather maker is on its way. So for tonight, a low of 39 degrees, mostly clear conditions, southwesterly wind at 6 miles an hour. As we step into the day tomorrow, we'll see some afternoon showers moving in with a high of 59. That southwesterly wind staying true at 9 miles per hour. And as we take a look at our 7-day outlook, drizzle for Wednesday and Thursday, light showers, but Friday and Saturday, the best chances of staying dry before rain returns for next week. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Filippo. Now over to Jenna with the latest in sports.
Thanks, Alicia. I'm Jenna Wisman with your sports update. Number 5, Penn State men's hockey swept Long Island University this weekend in a packed Pegula Ice Arena. On Friday night, Penn State got the win in an overtime thriller by a score of 5-4. Then on Saturday, they dominated to secure a 3-0 victory. Matt DeMarsico was the name heard throughout the entire series. DeMarsico netted his second hat trick of the season on Friday night and tallied 3 assists on Saturday night. Charlie Serrato and J.J. Webush each had 1 goal and an assist on Saturday. Right now, the DeMarsico, Webush, Serrato line seems unstoppable. Penn State moves to 4-1 and faces Stonehill at home this upcoming weekend. Unranked, Penn State football traveled to Iowa City this weekend to take on the Hawkeyes. This game looked very different without former head coach James Franklin and former quarterback 1 Drew Aller. The team lost in a tight contest by a score of 25-24, despite losing Katron Allen, rushed for 128 yards on 28 carries and 2 touchdowns. Allen, when asked about interim head coach Terry Smith, said, quote, "Coach Terry did a great job at lifting us up, bringing us together, and bringing the swagger." Penn State is now 3-4 on the season and heads into a bye week before traveling to the Horseshoe to take on number 1 ranked Ohio State. The Philadelphia Eagles are back in the win column after losing 2 weeks in a row to the Denver Broncos and the New York Giants. The Eagles defeated the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday by a score of 28-22. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts had his best game so far this season, going 19 for 23, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Both Eagles receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith had themselves a day, combining for 304 receiving yards. Brown had 2 touchdowns and Smith had 1 for 79 yards. The Birds moved to 5-2 on the season and travel back home for a rematch against the Giants on Sunday. Now in baseball news, the Toronto Blue Jays forced Game 7 of the ALCS battle for a spot in the World Series. Last night, the Blue Jays defeated the Mariners 6-2 in Toronto. Whoever wins tonight will face off against the Los Angeles Dodgers in the Fall Classic. Despite the Blue Jays having home field advantage tonight, the Mariners won games 1 and 2 in Toronto, and the home field advantage didn't seem to matter. The keys for each team to win come down to pitching. George Kirby needs to avoid a bad start for Seattle, while Shane Bieber needs to deliver an early lead for the Blue Jays. Tune in at 8 p.m. to see who can send their team to the World Series. That's all for your sports update.
Live from
After
the
the
campus
break,
of Penn State University, this is PSN News.
Penn State Network News is a student-produced, bi-weekly live news show featuring all student talent.
From local and national news to sports, entertainment, weather, and live interviews, we have it all.
We also feature student-made packages from across campus.
Airing every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m.
We are PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Lucas Conlon with your entertainment update. Multi-platinum singer-songwriter Riley Green is bringing his Damn Country Music Tour to State College this fall. His performance is scheduled for Thursday, November 13th at the Bryce Jordan Center, with the show beginning at 6:45 p.m. Green announced this edition after a string of sold-out headlining shows across Canada and is bringing along special guests Jamie Johnson, Drake White, and Hannah McFarlane for the U.S. leg. Tickets start at $57 and vary by seating. This performance is only one of 8 new tour dates added to his U.S. run. Tickets are on sale now. Eisenhower Auditorium will host the trio known as Souls of Duende for their performance Can We Dance Here? On Wednesday, November 5th. The show starts at 7:30 p.m. and features tap, flamenco, and Catholic dance styles in a collaborative performance that explores cultural connections through movement. After the show, audience members can stay for a conversation with the artists. This event offers a unique chance to experience a global arts performance right here in State College. Supermodel Bella Hadid is speaking out after video of her closing at the 2025 Victoria's Secret fashion show sparked online concern. Fans noticed her slower pace and how she held onto her wings, leading to speculation about her health. Hadid later shared that the wings she wore weighed 50 pounds, which made walking more difficult. The show marked her return to the runway just 1 month after a Lyme disease hospitalization. Despite the challenges, Hadid kept her composure on stage, but the moment quickly went viral and became one of the most talked about parts of the night. Sabrina Carpenter made her Saturday Night Live hosting debut this weekend, taking on double duty as both host and musical guest for season 51. The show opened with a throwback to the viral Domingo skit, bringing back Chloe Fineman's Kelsey character alongside Carpenter. She also used her monologue to address the controversy surrounding the cover art for her new album, Man's Best Friend, making light of the online reaction. This marked her first time hosting the show and second appearance as musical guest, solidifying her rising status in pop music and entertainment. That's all for Entertainment Update. Coming up next, interview anchor Mia Tricarica will be speaking with Shaheen Pasha, a journalist and Penn State professor. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
All of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.
Ready, mics?
3, 2,
Fade in on 2, mic and cue.
This is Mitney Talk.
I would say spring.
Slow down.
And he knew that. How do you think? I know. She continues to hold her values and everything though. And I think that that's really important. So yeah, and self-care Saturday.
And you lose a lot of sleep.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News.
Penn State Network News is a student-produced, bi-weekly live news show featuring all student talent.
From local and national news to sports, entertainment, weather, and live interviews, we have it all.
We also feature student-made packages from across campus.
Airing every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m.
We are PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State. Hey everyone, welcome to Culture Central. My name is Jaden Stewart.
What's good, everybody? My name is Eric Pichardo, and we are your hosts,
creators,
and executive producers of Culture Central. Is this Whitney Houston?
We're doing things that have never been done before, so welcome to the family.
Hey everyone, we are Red Carpet News, your main source of entertainment news at Penn State University.
Man, this festival is going to be popping.
I'm Alex Porzillo, here with Aiden Harold.
He's going to 23rd with Daddy Elon Warbucks to actual space away from Kim.
So in sync, especially during Kendrick's part when they came out, reporting on anything from music, movies, TV shows, fashion, to celebrity gossip. You don't want to miss out on any of the hot topics we discuss.
Find our segments on YouTube under the name Red Carpet News for your daily dose of entertainment.
We are Red Carpet News.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Mia Tricarico, and tonight I will be speaking with Shaheen Pasha, a journalist and Penn State professor. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm excited to hear your stories from reporting to teaching to freelancing. You have definitely worn many hats in this industry, and it shows. So let's jump right in. You were raised in New York City, right?
Yes.
So was being a journalist always your goal from being a little girl, or did something happen that made you decide?
Honestly, as far back as I can remember, I wanted to be a journalist. I remember watching World News Tonight with my father as a 5-year-old and standing in front of the mirror with a hairbrush, pretending that I was reporting from Moscow. So I think it's been something that I've always wanted to do, which is to tell people stories, and especially to tell the stories about people who are not often seen.
Right, giving a voice. That's amazing. So having the title as co-founder of the Prison Journalism Project is extremely impressive and powerful. Can you take us back to the beginning?
Honestly, the Prison Journalism Project, we just celebrated our 5th anniversary, but this is an idea that went back to about 20 years ago when my best friend, my childhood best friend, was arrested, and then he eventually went to trial 3 years later after serving 2 years in solitary. And he was convicted to 150 years in prison. And it was one of those moments that kind of changed everything for me, because I was a legal reporter. I covered trials, I covered courts, but I'd never actually asked what happened to people behind bars once they went there. And then when I went to visit him for the first time in prison, and we were behind this really dirty plexiglass wall, he said to me, you know, Shaheen, everybody in here has a story to tell, but you'll just never hear any of them. And that was sort of the seed 20 years ago that eventually turned into the Prison Journalism Project, which is a national nonprofit newsroom which trains incarcerated writers all around the country in the tools of journalism, helps them to get published on our newsroom, but also in mainstream publications like The Guardian or The New York Times, Rolling Stone, places like that.
Wow, that is incredible. Seriously. So also you've worked as a journalist across the Middle East, from Egypt to Dubai and beyond. Can you tell us some of the differences you've seen from working here in the US to over there?
It's actually really interesting because when I moved overseas, I was working under some pretty, controlled media environments, authoritarian regimes, places where it was not easy to be a journalist. And it was one of those places where you had to be very, very careful to cultivate sources. You had to, in some cases, give people anonymity, which is something here in the US, you had to have a very high bar in order to do that. But over there, the threat was too high. People could get, arrested, deported. I mean, I'd been threatened with deportation and being arrested a few times as a reporter. And that was something that was really challenging, getting people to trust you in an environment where it was very, very hard to do journalism. It was easier here in the US, but it's actually in many ways nowadays become just as difficult here.
Wow. That actually leads me to my next question. A question that weighs heavy on many aspiring journalists is, when's the time to clock out? When can a journalist be a regular human? Is it appropriate to post our opinions on social media?
I think it really comes down to credibility. There's a huge debate now on whether journalists have the right to be able to be people and say, their opinions online. But the problem is that when we go on air or when our bylines go out there, our names become a brand.
Right.
And people start to think they know us based on the interactions we're having on social media. And they start to see us as reflected in the organization that we work for. So I think that it's oftentimes, if you're putting your opinions out there, it can wind up causing readers or viewers to start to question whether you can be unbiased or whether you can tell a story if you already have a very clear viewpoint on how that story goes. So yes, we can be humans, but I think we also need to understand that there are moments where people are going to start to judge our credibility and start to think that our personal views are the views of our news organization. So you really have to go with what your news organization allows you to do.
Right. Yeah, I definitely take that advice to heart, being an aspiring journalist myself. So that was helpful. Thank you, Shaheen. For the incarcerated writers who have been released into the outside real world, did journalism still play a role in any of them that you've seen?
Yes, and I'm really proud about that because some of our writers who were in prison started doing this prison journalism, getting published in publications while in prison. They actually, when they got out, continued to pursue journalism, and they wound up getting published, becoming freelancers, getting fellowships and professional internships. So they were able to use the skills that we taught. Yeah.
Wow, Shaheen, super inspirational. So you're a journalist, a mother, a professor,
yes,
and a Voice for the Voiceless co-founder, countless things. How do you carry out so many roles without facing burnout?
I think it really comes down to trying to pace myself and realizing that I'm never going to be able to do everything well at the same time. Sometimes I'm going to be a great professional. I'm going to be a great journalist. I'm going to be a great professor. I'm going to be a great, whatever. And other times I'm going to be terrible at it. And once I accepted that, sometimes you can't have it all. It allowed me to give myself some grace to be able to say, yeah, right now I'm a mom. Right now, that's my role. Right now, I'm a professor. That's my focus. And it allows me to sort of be able to decide when to say no to things.
I don't know how you do it. It's a lot. What's a moment in your career that made you stop, pull back, and look at your work and say, this is why I do what I do?
Honestly, I think the stories that I've done, particularly when it comes to the incarcerated writers and being able to have them tell their stories, being able to teach them how to be able to fight for themselves and advocate for themselves has been really rewarding. I've had people who did stories about how they were inside prison without AC in Texas in the middle of summer, and they were basically boiling to death inside these facilities. They wrote a piece with us. It got co-published with Prison Journalism Project and The Guardian. And afterwards, after this got published, not only did COs come and say thank you for writing this because they were also suffering, but the prison actually came in and put AC units into their facility. And that was a huge win because if they hadn't had that ability to tell that story, they would not have been able to do something that affected so many people inside.
Right. You gave them the opportunity to be heard and you gave them that platform and it paid off and worked in the end. Yeah. Professor Pasha, your words tonight have given us so much to think about, from journalism to justice, identity, and impact. Thank you for being here and sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Now stick around because coming up next, Kassie and Alicia will have the latest news from across the nation.
Ready, mics? 3, 2, fade in on 2, mic and cue.
This is Nittany Talk.
I would say spring.
Slow down.
When he knew that, how do you think?
I know. She continues to hold her values and everything though, and I think that that's really important. So yeah, self-care Saturday.
And you lose a lot of sleep.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Bye.
Hey everyone, welcome to Culture Central. My name is Jaden Stewart.
What's good, everybody? My name is Eric Pichardo, and we are your hosts,
creators,
and executive producers of Culture Central. Is this Whitney Houston?
We're doing things that have never been done before, so welcome to the family.
If you don't include human beings, you cannot accurately model the way the climate has changed over the last 50 years.
And I don't know that we're ever going to be free of some sort of bug.
A natural state of motion for something to be in is to remain in its current state of motion.
I've been lucky enough to discover various things out there. Pulsars, exoplanets, and some other phenomena that ended up being interesting.
Hi, I'm Johnson Gary with Asking Penn State.
With Asking Penn State,
Asking Penn State.
Asking Penn State. Asking Penn State.
Welcome back to Asking Penn State.
A Pennsylvania man pleads guilty in an arson attack at Governor Josh Shapiro's mansion. Cody Balmer scaled an iron security fence in the middle of the night and used beer bottles full of gasoline to ignite Shapiro's house while the family was inside. Balmer also entered pleas to terrorism, 22 counts of arson, aggravated arson, burglary, aggravated assault, 21 counts of reckless endangerment and loitering in the April 13th attack that caused millions of dollars of damage.
Former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton pleaded not guilty Friday to charges of mishandling classified information. Bolton is accused of emailing more than 1,000 pages of classified notes to family members and keeping top secret documents at his Maryland home. Bolton's attorneys argue the charges stem from personal diaries kept over his 45-year government career and involve information known to the FBI since 2021.
For the first time in California history, a county sheriff has been removed from office. The San Mateo County Board of Supervisors voted unanimously Tuesday to remove Sheriff Christina Corpus from her position, nearly a year after a retired county judge issued an incriminating report concluding that she likely violated county rules on nepotism and conflicting relationships. Corpus still has a few days to appeal her removal.
Dozens of reporters walked out of the Pentagon last week after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth introduced new rules. The agreement banned reporters from soliciting any information without prior authorization from him. ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox, and NBC released a joint statement calling the policy, quote, without precedent. The Washington Post reports that only 15 signed the new press pledge. Now over to Kylie Smith with the latest in global news.
Thanks, Alicia. I'm Kylie Smith with your Global News Update. The world's most visited art museum, the home of the Mona Lisa and Venus de Milo, has been robbed. Just moments after the Louvre opened Sunday morning, a 7-minute raid took place where thieves stole, quote, priceless artifacts from the French crown jewels, dating back to the Napoleonic era. Using a truck-mounted ladder, the robbers completed this heist through the Apollo Gallery. There is assumed to be 4 people directly involved with breaking and entering into the museum, but a larger professional team involved with planning the heist. This investigation is ongoing, but the Minister of Interior of France, Laurent Nunez, is confident they will quickly find the perpetrators and safely return all the stolen items. If you were refreshing your phone at any point today wondering why Snapchat, Amazon, or Canvas wasn't working, that's because there was a global internet outage starting at 3 a.m. Hundreds of websites were offline for hours today due to Amazon Web Services striking a problem at its data center in Northern Virginia. This presents a major concern to experts and displays the delicacy of global internet and how reliable the world is on major providers like Amazon, Google, and Microsoft. Some sites are still working to get back to full function, as this could cost millions of dollars in lost sales. That's all for your Global News Update. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kylie. That concludes our show tonight at PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.